Okay, so this session is about tools that are not ChatGPT, but other things that might be helpful for us to use as educators, specifically under the area of AI. So I'm excited about this one because there really is so much, and I'm learning about new ones all the time. And one caveat is I'm going to share with you guys right now this Google document. You guys can pull it up on your side. This is a Google document that I have been, you know what, I'll just share too, so that I'll talk about it while, and see it at the same time. And hopefully this is going to come up right. This Google document is one that I've been working on for a few weeks, and it is a list of AI tools that I've come across specifically with the lens of educators. So what you guys are looking at here is the resource name and link to the tool is on the left. A general description of what it does and doesn't do is in the middle. And then any tutorials or any other resources I thought might be helpful with regard to this particular tool. This I'm updating all the time. So if you hold on to that link, I may add to it. I have been adding to it. I think I just added 1 or 2 last week. And I'll take things off as they become maybe not free anymore, or it may be not as helpful. So everything on this list is either is completely free, and some of them are, or they have a free option for it. As we know, so many tools have a lower tier that's free, and then you kind of pay for other things. But everything on here at least has a free version. And you'll see on here I have things that are really basic, like we've talked about before, like ChatGPT and Bing AI and Bard. We've talked about those in earlier sessions. And then some other things that you've probably not heard of. So we're going to actually look at a few of the tools that are on here today, and I'm going to give you kind of a little demo of it. And as we do that, I'll put the tool URL in the chat so you guys can pull it up on your end as well. And we'll see how many we get through. I think I've got 3 or 4 I could go through, or we could go faster or slower, or whatever we want to do. So hold on to this, this Google document if you're looking to dig into other tools that do different things. So the first one I'm going to show you is a really, really basic one, and it's called Summarize.tech. I don't know if I've mentioned this one to any of you yet, or if you've played around with it, but this was one that I actually showed my students on the very first day in case it might be helpful to them. The gist of this is that it will summarize YouTube videos for you in 5-minute increments. So if you want to know if this is a video that would be helpful in your class, or something that might be beneficial for your students to take a look at, and it's a 20-minute video, but you kind of want an overview, is this really going to hit the main points I'm looking for? It might be helpful. So here's how it works. So I'm going to bring over, this is just a video that Sal Khan, who did Khan Academy, and now an AI tool they use called Conmingo. It's sort of a tutoring tool. And this was a few months ago, and he did a kind of a talk on how AI could save, not destroy education, as educators were kind of flipping out about what this was going to mean for us. So all I'm going to do is take the URL to this YouTube video and dump it right here inside of this tool and hit enter. And what it's going to do is, you can see it gives me an overview. This is a 15-minute video, and here's an overview of the entire video. But if I click on see more, it breaks it down into 5-minute increments, summarizing every 5 minutes. And if I think, yeah, here's where he talks about Conmingo. If I wanted to learn a little more about that, or actually go to that section, I can click right here, and it'll take me to that piece of the video where I can start there and watch those 5 minutes that it summarized there for me. So very simple. I looked at probably 3 or 4 different YouTube summarizing AI tools, and this one was, in my opinion, the easiest. There are others that will kind of provide a full transcript for you. Lots of tools that do things like this. This was just one of the more simple ones that I found. Pretty self-explanatory. I could definitely see a use for a longer video and wanting to get an idea as to what it'll cover for you. Oh, I lied. I didn't even put the URL in here. Somebody yell at me when I do that. Hold on. Oh, good question, Sarah. This one, let me go back and see. Yeah, this one does, but there were definitely others that were more open than that, and it could take anything. Really good question. I'm going to pay attention to that chat a little better. All right, so there's the URL if you guys just want to take a look at it quick and see what we've got. And Sarah, if you need one specifically, I can dig in and look around a little bit.
Nope, just curious.
Okay, yep, great question, as usual.
So adding on to Sarah's question, actually,
Sure.
Shannon, with our students for their field experience, one of them, because we have 16 weeks and I have a lot of remote students that are far away, they videotape one of the lesson implementations. And so I was wondering, some of them do create it into YouTube and send me the link private, but some of them, of course, use the Google, just so that we can access it. And some of them, they just play it from their own end when they're sharing the screen. It's nice to watch everything and then obviously discuss it and dig into it. But this format that we just gotten about, like where it kind of does in different clips and summarizes it, that would be nice if there's any kind of AI tool that will take that personal video where they can lay it out. And then when we're doing the analysis conference time, that they can actually have that ready. And then
yeah, so I think what you're asking is a tool that you could upload a video to, like any MP4 file. Is that what you mean? Let me look around and see what I can find.
Because usually students use their cell phone or right?
Yep. Yeah, that would probably be an MOV file.
Okay.
I should have mentioned this, and I'm glad you just asked that. And I will look and see if I can find one. But four links down here at the bottom of this document are all kind of AI educator search engine tools. So you can look and see, there's a tool I'm looking for that does this. This is a good place to look, but I will look as well. So if I don't cover something and you're thinking, I really want a great AI tool linked with podcasting or something like that, there are 4 kind of search engines for those as well. So great questions. All right, let me go on to the next one. This one is fun and very simple as well. This one's called Goblin Tools. And I showed my students this one as well on the first day of class. Hold on, I'm going to go back to the main page here. And I am going to remember to put this in the chat now. Okay, this one is so simple. And one of the reasons I like it is because this one, in my opinion, certainly can help us, but it might be even more helpful for students. So there are several tabs up here at the top, and it does a lot of fun things. I'm going to focus on just a couple of these that I think are most helpful. So what this does is it breaks things down for us in a check off list of steps to complete the task. So if I add in an item, let's say a student has to create a lit review. So they're like, great, but I'm really not sure what that involves. I feel sometimes you get that, like, I don't know where to start kind of feeling. So if we put in here, create a literature review. And before I hit generate, I want to show you over here, they call it, how spicy do you want it to be? Meaning how much detail do you want in it? Anything from all the way down here at 1, and I think it goes to 5. Yeah, 5. So I'm going to leave it here in the middle, but if you want more detail, obviously slide it over, less detail, slide it down. So I'm going to go ahead and generate. Now, when I do that, it creates a list for me, and I'm going to click over here, this little button that says break down the item. And I have some other options here as well where I can estimate time, but I'm going to do this one first. So it's going to take it a second, and it's going to break down my large item into mini items so I know kind of how to get started. So here's the list. So identify the topic, conduct a comprehensive search, and I can even say, break down this item. I'm not really sure how to do that. So I can say, generate a kind of sub list of this, and it will do that for me after it generates it. Here it is. Identify key database sources and literature review, develop a search strategy, and so on. Now, if you look through here and you think, I do not really need that, I can remove anything that I've already done or that I can take off my list. I can also add a subtask manually if I'm like, I really got to remember to do this part of it and it didn't come up there for me, I can do that. And you can continue to actually make those, break down the list as detailed as you want it to be. You can also, for these tasks, I can estimate. So there is an estimator option where it'll tell me about how long it'll take me to do those things as well. And that's a little bit tough because it really depends on how familiar you are with the content or with that particular task. But it's a very easy one there. It just broke down our and estimated for us. And again, this may not be exact, but it might give students a realistic, or at least oh yeah, this isn't going to take me 10 minutes to do. It's going to take me longer to actually dig in and do these things. And of course, you can mark them off as you do them if you like that visual cue. So I show this to my students because sometimes I think they do, and I'm somebody like that, if you can't conceptualize how long something's going to take or really what's involved, it's hard to get started. So the magic to do, I like, it's simple, it's easy to break down, and you can make it as detailed or not detailed as you would like. Another tool in this sort of suite of tools, this is all free, as I mentioned before. I like this because it can help you take what your thoughts are and make them more or less of whatever. So I played around with this a little bit where I took like a chunk, I think it was out of my syllabus. It was a piece that I thought sounded just a little bit harsh. So I think I said, try to make this, I'll come back to that, Sarah. Try to make this a little more or less formal or whatever, because I thought it read that way. I also tried the make more sarcastic, and it definitely did make it more sarcastic. So if you are sort of struggling with, I want my thoughts down, but I actually want this to sound more polished or more professional, it's a good one. And sort of in that same vein, this judge over here, I kind of liked. If I wrote an email out, I tested this one too. How did this come across? Did it come across as friendly? Did it come across as too harsh? Does it come across as too sarcastic or whatever? And it did a pretty good job. It'll give you why. So I had in there an email that I'd sent to somebody about something, and it said, this comes across as friendly, and it gave me examples because you said this, and it even picked up on like emojis or smiley faces I used to say, this sounded friendly because you used a smiley face, and so on. So this is helpful. In my opinion, it might be something helpful for students. Sometimes they'll send an email to me that I don't think they realize comes across as maybe a little more aggressive or a little more harsh than they intend it to be. So I showed them this tool because it's super simple. Sarah, you asked about the time estimate.
Ginger wrote a comment about her putting in the cape work.
Oh, I got it.
It would take. We're having one of those side conversations.
No. I'm glad you are. I just missed her comment. So I thought I maybe went to it through too quickly. How many days did it say, Ginger? Oh, 36 days.
36 days. And actually I put 15, it's 36 days and 15 hours actually. Yeah.
You think that's 24 hours a day?
Yes, for sure. Yes.
Okay. So we better get started then.
Yeah, we're starting.
Okay. So Goblin Tools is simple, but I think it kind of has a pretty specific intent. And again, it might be something maybe most useful for our students. So we'll see. But when I showed this to somebody, they said, oh, someone who's just starting with AI and maybe be a little bit intimidated by it. This one's a good one to just sort of get your feet wet just a bit with it. Okay. I'm going to go over to, I'm going to try this one next. This is Microsoft Designer, and I'm going to put this in here, and I'm going to give you guys a second because it does, I think it's going to ask you to log in. Any Gmail account should work. Ironically, I tried to use my NKU account, which is, of course, a Microsoft-based, and it wouldn't take that. So you have to have something non-Microsoft. I don't know why, but I used a Gmail account that I use for all sorts of things, and it was just fine. So as I will sort of talk about this, if you guys want to create a login, you don't have to. I'll demo it if you don't want to. It's entirely up to you. But here's the gist of this one. This is intended to be sort of Canva-like in that its strength is in creating kind of one page Instagram posts or flyers or social media posts of any kind, graphics for you. And I'll show you an example. But if you're looking to kind of create a flyer for something, I think it excels at something like that. So,
Shannon?
yeah.
I'm so sorry to interrupt you.
You're
I would
fine.
love to log in and do this while you do this. I
Yeah.
don't understand how my NKU Google account works exactly. What is my NKU Google
Yep.
email address?
So it should be your username at gmail.com is what it should be.
Oh, okay.
And everybody should have one of those. And I use it for all sorts of things, from like actually having a separate workspace and Google Drive with that, to using it to create Google Classrooms and all sorts of things. So hopefully it works. And it should just be your regular login. And actually, when you put that in, it did not work.
It didn't.
Did anybody else try that?
I have a personal Gmail account I could use, but I'd love for my NKU one to work.
Yeah, let me
I use my personal Gmail and it worked, but
okay, let me try the designer with my Gmail and see what, or my work Gmail, and see what happens here.
I'm sorry.
You're fine, no problem. It's a good question, because it would be easier if you could keep all of this in one spot.
Captain Luis Avila, a U.S. soldier, severely wounded.
Ginger, when you did it, what'd you click on to get to that, to your Gmail spot?
I think it said log in or create a login or something.
But it's
Um,
weird. When I clicked on the link, it took me to it, and it has my nku.edu.
Yeah.
It says sign up, but it says here, describe the design you'd like to create.
Yeah,
But
okay.
it
So you did get in using your NKU?
Well, I didn't even sign in. It gave me
Oh.
this, it took me right to it.
I wonder if it
But I'm
recognized,
using Google,
I wonder if it recognized you were already logged in, maybe?
maybe because I was on, since I'm using, it's one step for all the NKU, so maybe everything's linked.
I'm pretty sure. Hang on, let me look and see what I used. No, I used Gmail for mine.
Yeah, it made me create one, and then it asked for it says Microsoft, but I typed in a Gmail email,
Yep.
and then it asked for my birthday and stuff, which was a little weird, but,
Yeah.
and I had to verify my email on my phone.
I'm guessing that's because so often these tools are 13 or older, sometimes different ages. So I'm guessing they're verifying that.
Mhm.
Sarah, did you try your regular Gmail?
No, but I will do that.
Okay, let's do that. I'll come back to this and see. It should, because it's just Gmail, but I will, because I'm also logged on, it's not happy. I want to do it twice, but I will absolutely look into that and see if there's something special we need to do.
This is, it even, when I just put in very random, it says create, it even suggests the prompt.
Yes, it does. So I'll go ahead and kind of show an example. It really, I was playing around with this yesterday, and I'll show you when I said it. But at one point I was like, I actually think I said out loud, "Are you kidding me?" Because I couldn't believe how much it gave me. So it says an Instagram post, it's kind of giving you an idea, but I'm going to put in create a flyer for a session for the Aspiring Educators Group on AI and education. Now, this is something that group asked me to do, so I want to, maybe promote it. And I'm going to say, make this black and gold. You can tell it colors. You can say include an image of a robot. You can give it anything you want. You can say, let me see if I can do that. Include an image for AI. Let's see what it'll give us. So I'm going to hit generate here. You can also add in your own image if you want to make sure, like if I wanted to put in the NKU logo, I could do that. I could generate an image to include in it. Okay, so when you put something in over on the right, it gives me a few suggestions for what this flyer may look like. And I'm looking through, and they do incorporate black and gold. They are giving me the information that I asked for. If you don't like any of those, we could explore more prompts. Maybe I need to get more specific about it. Maybe I didn't give it enough detail. But if you guys were able to do that, just pick one that you think maybe it's at least a starting place. So go ahead and click one, and it's going and choose customize design. And so now, did everybody get that? They brought up something that you could play with. Okay, so over on the left, you can continue to make edits to this. So let's say I wanted to add in another text box, or I wanted to add in, I'm going to go with visuals, and I'm going to search for AI. Maybe I want to add another image to this. So make a couple of different changes to it in just a few minutes, or maybe even less than that, just to make another change. And I'm going to show you something that I think is pretty cool about it. So I'm going to add in a second image here and bring it down a little bit. And I'm going to add a little more details into my text box too, because I actually have a date for this. So I'm going to add that in. Okay. I'm going to wait just a second, make sure you guys were able to make a change to it in some way. All right, now once you make a change to it or add in another image or a couple of images, on the right, you should see where it says ideas. It actually is giving us more ideas and more formats based on the new image we put in and the new text. So I'm looking over on the right, and I actually like better a design that they have over on the right than what I was working on. So I'm going to click on it, and it's now incorporating in both images that I had on my screen and all of the text that I included. And when I do that, I can now look over on the right, on the left, and I can make more changes to it, and it will continue to generate additional variations of that look or design or images or colors on the right side. And if you don't like any of those, then you can choose to go new idea, and you can go back to the beginning again. So as you continue to make changes to this, you can continue to make updates over on the right, different things that you are adding into it. So I'm going to just add in maybe one more thing here. And you can resize things, you can change colors on things, much like Canva does. All right, here's all my new ideas over here on the right. So it is similar to Canva, but looks a little different, maybe a little quicker. It does a little less than what Canva does. Canva's a little more robust. But if you were looking for something specifically flyer or social media related, this is a good one. All right. All right, perfect. So outside of the accountant, Sarah, we'll look into this. Anything else? Any other questions on this one? All right, Microsoft Designer. This one was new to me. Honestly, I hadn't used it, AI or otherwise, for really anything. In the next session, when we the lunch one that we're going to have, I'm going to actually look at Canva and show you a couple of things that's been added recently to Canva that is specifically AI. Like one thing that's super cool is you can actually put in text and it will generate a brand new, not on the internet image from just the text you're putting in there. It's pretty awesome. So if you're familiar with Canva, I'll dig into that a little bit more in the next session where we can look at Canva, but also the AI implementations of Canva. Okay, so let's look at, I'm going to show you this one just really briefly. This one's called Lesson Creator. and it's completely free. It is looks maybe a little less polished and professional. It is put up by an educator who just wants to help other educators. So I'm mentioning this one because it does some very simple things very quickly for you. And over here on the left are the things that it does. So I'll just point out a couple of them. One that I think it does a good job with is question creator. So, oh, sorry, I didn't do the thing. There we go. This is the URL to it. No login, no nothing for this one, just open. I'm going to click on the question creator. They're up at the top and they're also over on the left side. So you can put in, copy your text into here, put in the level that you want it at and your subject. One of the things I really like about this is, so it's best for something you can copy and paste in, part of an article, part of a reading passage. One of the things I like are the number of questions and kinds of questions that you can include. I like that it says it's implicit, it's inferred, and it requires analysis. I did put in some content into this, and it did a good job of that. You can have just multiple choice, true, false, short answer, and maybe include the answers if you wanted to do that. So if you guys want to take a second, if you have anything to put in there, any kind of content, I'll probably try to grab just a chunk from an article and put it in there just as an example. So I'll give you guys just a minute to do that. I'll pull up something from an article. It is 600 word limit, so manageable chunks. See what it does with that. Let's see if I can put in a bit more. All right, so number of questions. All right, so it says to me, I put in a few, we're creating your questions. They'll be here in a few seconds. All right, so mine are here and my answers are towards the bottom here. As always, you're going to want to fact check everything. Since this is coming directly out of content, it's probably pretty close, but it's always a good idea. And again, this is a good idea, or this is helpful for, it's not always easy to come up with test questions, especially if you have multiple versions of something, or if you ever use in Canvas where you have a big bank and you want to pull like 2 or 3 questions out of a section. I do that. I have more questions than I do what I'm going to pull to give every student a different question, or at least variations of the question. So it's helpful for things like that. But it's simple, it's quick, you can easily copy it out of here and use it, or again, at least to give yourself a springboard to what other variations of questions you might have. So I like it for that. The other one I'll mention is this PowerPoint creator. I have to say that I'm fairly skeptical of AI creating PowerPoint because I'm like, how good could this be? So I want to I actually have an example of this one that I already did. Give it a subject, a year level, so it knows kind of what level to put it at, number of slides you want, and learning objectives. So I put one in here where I was playing around. I do a lesson on social media in education, how to use it in the classroom, what are some limitations and some benefits to it. I gave it very little in the way of the learning objectives, like a few sentences maybe. So it creates it for you, and this was what it created for me. A PowerPoint where it gave me like a title slide if I wanted to add in something. It gave me an intro, It gave me examples. It gave me resources. It gave me tips and suggestions. It gave me how employers are using it, which is not what I told them. And that's absolutely what I talk about in my class, why it's going to matter when employers vet them out, benefits of it, and a summary. I'm not kidding. I gave it so little. When I pulled this up, I think that was another one of those, are you kidding me? Pieces where I was like, that's unbelievable. And again, of course, you can add images and you could add links and you can add other things to it. But I was pretty impressed with what it gave me, given that I gave it very little to start with. And even if it is a little bit to start with, it's a framework to work within. So I liked this tool because it's simple as it is. It impressed me with what it could do, entirely free, built by an educator for educators. So I wanted to mention this one because I thought it was pretty easy. I'm going to stop there. I have others, of course, but I'll save some of the magic for later in the next session. But I guess to just circle back to the beginning, if you're like, this is so great, we've got lots of things that we can do, I point you back to this document where everything else I'm going to go over in the next session, and of course I won't get to all of them, will be they're in here. So we will take a look. I'll share this one more time, because I know a couple of people came on a bit late. So I'll share this out. I know it won't be in your chat unless you were here at the time. So here's that document again.